viewers.
What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. And as always, we have a live stream every Friday, 7 p.m. California time, where I answer your questions live. And as always, we have a Patreon link down below where you can donate as little as $1 and help the channel grow.
If you want to follow me on Musical.ly, on Instagram, on Snacked, on Flipagram, it's all Doc McMahon. Just use Doc_McMahon for Instagram.
He's actually kind of a big deal, but...
Just kidding.
It's okay. We want to go over what it's going to take to become a Navy diver. So we have here Brandon. He is a corpsman as well. We actually were in school recently together, but he has since graduated and he is moving on to the dive pipeline, which is very interesting because you've been very many places and you're now at the ripe age of, what, 35? 34, deciding to go dive, and age limit was what?
30.
So it shows you, even if you guys are 18, 26, 30, 34, whatever, there's a will, there's a way, you can make it into the community, and he's trying. So what made you want to become a Navy diver, pretty much? Because you had this idea before you even came to school when we met.
Yeah. So I joined the Navy back in 2001, and I just didn't even know that like diving was a thing. Recruiters did not tell me anything.
The recruiters are good, like, resource. But just like us, like, we don't know everything, and then they don't know everything, so it's like, to encompass everything that you could possibly do, it's tough.
It's very true. And I think, like, at my point in the career, maybe even like 5 years ago, if I was a recruiter, I wouldn't know everything to tell them. But they didn't tell me diving was an option, so I'm semi-mad. Because I grew up in the water, surfing, wakeboarding, and had he said anything dive, I would have done it. But, so... my first exposure to the diving community was working at the Aviation Survival Training Center up in Whidbey Island, Washington. I worked with a couple of divers, and they were like my best friends.
Yeah.
So I'm friends with divers, and then the command master chief comes in. He says, "Hey, who wants to be a dive med tech?" And I was like, "That's a thing."
Yeah.
For real.
By the way, that's for corpsmen. A lot of people ask about it.
Yeah.
And most people that are here are asking about it, and they're going to A school. So you're offered a pipeline in A school to go dive med tech. So they're usually going to ask for volunteers, and you run the PST, and then you're just like in a totally separate program to go through.
I'm not 100% sure, but I would try talking to the recruiter, like, can you be contracted? Because I think a lot of my buddies were. Like, they were contracted to go to core school and then straight DMT. Because at least in 2001, it wasn't mentioned.
Yeah.
Well, we were all going FMF at that time because Iraq just happened.
And
Get ready for it.
So, I mean, it's always a possibility. Yeah. You know, it's tough to gauge what's going to happen, so.
But, so yeah, the master chief says, who wants to be a diver? I said I would love to. I started prepping over a year's period of time. I prepped with EOD Mobile Unit 11, dive chief that worked at Whidbey Island with me. And then after I submitted my package, they said no, because
why was that?
The job I was currently in was undermanned.
Okay.
So oftentimes they're not going to let you leave one undermanned community for another undermanned community.
And so they're aware. What was your community?
Aviation physiology tech. So what that big title means is we teach aviation water survival. All the pilots and air crew that go flying, we teach them what to do if things go bad. If you have to eject out of an aircraft, how to pull the handle, how to come down on a parachute. If your helicopter goes underwater and you're strapped in, we teach you how to get out, all that stuff.
Cool.
So anyways, I got denied, couldn't go. Fast forward a little bit, I was applying to med school. So I kind of dropped the ball and said, well, I'm not going to go dive med tech anymore because I'm going to be a doctor and hopefully I'll go dive medical officer. Fast forward some more, a lot of years. My son was born. I decided I didn't want to go to med school anymore because I was getting into social media, advertising, nonprofit companies and stuff. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to go to med school anymore. Let me revisit this diving thing.
Just keeps coming up.
So this is what, 8 years later.
Yeah.
So I called the detailer and I said, how do I go dive? And he said, you can't do it. And I said, well, come on.
At this point, you're already a first class, though, right?
Yeah, second time. I've been a first twice.
So what's funny is people are like, oh, I want to cross and do all this. And I always try to explain, like, when you're in your situation as, like, a first class already, and you're E6 and you're looking to move over, it's very difficult to actually do this at this point. Typically, you're like E5 and below, and you still have that chance.
Yeah. The good thing about being a first class with 16 years in is you know a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I was able to call a whole bunch of people and make sure that...
I just want to plug, that's why I always tell you guys network as much as you can. Meet as many people as you can, show face, shake some hands, and let people know your intentions. Because obviously for him, it kind of worked out.
And to add on that, everywhere you go is an interview.
Yep.
Like, even if you're just trying to get by, like, 10 years later, somebody's going to be like, no, I knew that dude, and he didn't do anything.
It's a small Navy, to be honest.
It
like,
is.
And how much we all cross paths, even for the largest rate, we're at like 20-something thousand corpsmen, and it's nuts because, like, how big that is, but how small it is, and everyone knows everyone.
To dive, yes. So anyways, talked to the detailer. He said, if you go to IDC school, we'll let you go diver. I thought he was full of it, but enough people called and said, you know what? This will actually happen. Mm-hmm. So I went IDC school, I passed, and he held up his end of the bargain. So
and he's going. So you're headed to what is actually dive prep, which is in Great Lakes, correct? So how long is this process?
So dive prep is the tool that dive school uses to weed everyone out so that you don't go to Panama City and fail. And the prep is in Chicago, Great Lakes, and it is 15 days of misery.
Yeah. It sounds short, but then in my head I'm like, 15 days of this program, I already know it's going to be kind of a miserable time.
Yeah, you can go on YouTube and type in dive prep. There's like one video, and you'll see some of the guys in it. They look like they're in the best shape of their life.
Yeah.
And they look like they're near death. So it's super motivating.
Yeah.
That goes well, then I'll drive down to Panama City, and then that's 4 months.
Cool. So how are you preparing specifically for dive right now? And obviously being in 16 years, he knows people that are divers. He's been around divers before. So this will be good because he's already been able to interact with divers. You guys haven't. If you're trying to go, he can give you some kind of like basic rundown of what to do.
So some of the biggest gouge I've gotten from all my dive buddies is that it's... One, you have to be comfortable in the water. So you're like, oh, we're going diver, so I just need to do water, water, water. They run more than anything. So one of the big preps I've had to do was I'm running all the time. Long distance at a slow pace, and then doing interval training. If you don't know what interval is, basically where you're going to run a short distance really, really fast, and then do it again and again and again, so that you kind of build up that muscle memory to run at a faster pace. Navy, if you don't know, you run 1.5 miles for your PRT twice a year. But you also have the option of swimming or biking. And I'm a really fast swimmer. So I have run... Never.
So that actually brings me to a good point of PST scores. So obviously that is the prerequisite for you getting in, like, fitness wise. So people can kind of look at their numbers versus yours and what they're at. What could you say your numbers were for you doing your PST, so if they could reflect on their own numbers?
So what you want on a PST score, you want your swim time, which is 500 meters. That should be under, like, if you're swimming 9:30, under 10 minutes, you're probably okay. Mine was like 7:50.
Yeah.
My swim was good.
He's a natural fish, by the way.
I've surfed my whole life and swam on teams. Your run, you want your run 1.5 miles to be 9:30.
Wow.
Mine was not at all. Like I said, 16 years of no running.
Yeah.
I'm having to build that up.
Yeah.
And then they're looking for like 15 pull-ups, 85 push-ups, and 85 sit-ups.
Cool.
That would be okay. But the big thing I've learned too is, and it's not saying that the Navy standard push-up is not adequate, but it's not adequate for dive school.
Yeah.
So what instruction we follow to do push-ups would not count as a push-up in dive school.
Okay.
It is full extension, full elbows down, full extension. Where in the Navy PRT, we don't have to lock our elbows.
Yeah.
You have to lock your elbows.
Okay.
That makes a huge difference. So whereas I can do like 90 PRT push-ups.
Yeah.
Convert that to dive push-ups is like 45.
Okay.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's good you're saying this because people that are going, people are gonna bounce push-ups and do everything else. So it's kind of like
slow
it's good you're
steady.
showing that this is legit. Like if you're doing a PST, you need to be really prepared for like just beyond the PST, not just meeting the standard of the basic level. Because obviously, you getting accepted, you knew if your scores weren't even high enough, they'd be like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I had a dive warrant officer tell me that I needed 20 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and a run time under 9:30 and a swim time under 10, or they wouldn't even consider it.
Mm-hmm. What water work are you doing right now that's helping you? Because I know you've been doing fitting and stuff like that. So what's your regimen for that?
Fitting, that's got to be from all of the divers that I've spoken to. Finning is like one of the biggest things that people fail out for. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of something that you wouldn't normally prepare. You'd be running or you'd be swimming and you'd do push-ups and sit-ups, but you're never going to strap on these super heavy fins and just torture yourself in the water.
Yeah.
And so people will get kicked out on a regular basis because of that. So,
and how much weight are you guys putting on in the water, weighing you down?
So it's going to be up to 16 pounds for a testing evolution. Mm-hmm. The last time I was talking to a buddy, he said there is a period though where you'll hold 35-pound plates, and you have to keep that 35-pound plate finning for 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So very much endurance-based workouts.
No, that is heart-based. Because you're going to be finning, and like no matter how much you've prepared, it's going to... I was just talking to him, he's in way better shape than me, and we went finning out in the bay together, we did 1,000 meters, and as soon as we started, like 30 seconds in, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like warm-up lap where you feel good and then it starts hurting.
Yeah.
It's instantaneous. So you just got to dig deep and find how bad you want it.
I don't know if people have fins or not, and I know obviously fins are going to matter. Did you purchase your fins from somewhere specifically, or?
No, so one of my dive buddies gave me a pair. You can look them up. They're Rockets or Jets.
And those are authorized?
Those are the only two authorized.
Okay.
And
just so they can prepare like as legit as possible.
They're cheap. They're cheap fins.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of the other ones, and you're not going to use, like, even when you graduate dive school, you're not going to use those.
Yeah.
Probably. You're going to get a split fin, something that's really light and user-friendly.
Okay.
These fins are designed to be able to provide a lot of force and lift when you have a lot of weight and like you're doing ship's husbandry stuff.
Yeah.
So they're heavy. They don't move much. They hurt.
A lot of muscle to go behind those fins, right?
Yeah. It's bad. 500, you should be finning 500 meters a day until that stops hurting.
If it stops.
It will get better.
Yeah.
The first couple times I put those fins on, I literally felt like my foot was in like a vice.
Okay.
And like somebody was trying to break it. That's gone. Thank God.
Yeah.
So then fin 500 meters a day, regardless of what else you're doing. You should be running in the beginning, you really want to start. Like, so when I first started my PT regiment, it was a run day, a swim day, a run day, a swim day, a run day, swim day. And then after you do that a little while and you're not going to hurt yourself, then I would run, do like an upper body strength, core, and then I would go fin.
Okay.
And then the days that I would swim, I would, like, if I was going to do long distance swimming, then I wouldn't run. Because that was kind of my cardio, was doing long distance swim. But I would do a swim, and then at the end of my swim, I would fin.
Okay.
So towards the end of your training, like when you're getting close enough to where you're about to be going to school, you should be doing either a run or a swim every day and follow it up with a fin.
Wow.
After you're doing 500 for a while, move that over to 1,000. And before you're going to school, you should be doing 2,000 at least 3 times a week.
Wow. So this is very intense.
Yeah.
I want to portray how intense your training is and what you're going through right now to prepare. Like, and this is you with background knowledge from other divers that are already in the community. So that's why I want to make sure people understand. This isn't like, hey, I'm going scuba diving or something like in the Canaries or something. This is like a legit intense program.
They consider diving special operations.
Yeah.
And they're going to treat you as such. And to give you an insight of a diver who was prepping to go as well, he was super motivated, wanted to be a diver. He was swimming 2 miles a day, running like 10 miles every other day, PT'd for like 3 to 4 hours a day, and he didn't fin at all.
Yeah.
And he said when I got to school, he thought he was going to fail daily.
Yeah.
He said you can almost throw out a majority of that if you just replace it with finning. So I kind of got that gouged late in the game. 2 months left to prep. So
at least some is better than none.
And if you can't fin, you don't have fins, you don't have water to go do it, you don't know how to measure it, you can get heavy something on your feet and do a copious amount of flutter kicks.
Okay.
If you do 100 4-count flutter kicks, which is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
With weights on your ankles, make sure you're pointing your toes. That's key. And just do that a couple times a day.
Wow. Yeah. All right. I wish Brandon on his luck for the journey to diver. He will be leaving here very soon. But so if you want to check him out, he's doing YouTube videos now. He's got Musical.ly, he's got Instagram, he's got all that. That's going to be in the description down below. Obviously, he is killing it on Musical.ly, but we're trying to grow everything else. So just make sure you show love everywhere if you can. So, any last words?
No. Hope you guys make it. And just remember, if you want something bad enough, you can get it just...
Even at 35 or 34 or whatever age you are.
My body tells me no, but my brain still says go.
Strong. Alright guys, if you guys have questions, hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. And as always, we have a live stream every Friday, 7 p.m. California time, where I answer your questions live. And as always, we have a Patreon link down below as well, where you can donate as little as $1 to help the channel grow. We appreciate it. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill.